Today is Wellness Worship Wholeness Wednesday. I just want to say, as a part of my first part of my day, things that I did to go along with the wellness and the wholeness and the worship Wednesday, I set my thermostat. What does that mean, set your thermostat? You know how in the house where you can just change the temperature? Oh, I want it to be 68. Oh, I want it to be this. No, you set your thermostat. That means in the beginning of your day, you say, this is where I want to be all day long. This is where I want to be. This is where I want to focus my attention on today. So today I set mine to all is well. So no matter what happened today, I kept reminding myself, all is well. All is well, Alicia. God purposed in my heart and he has a plan and a purpose for your life. All is well. So no matter what somebody did at work, no matter what somebody said to me, no matter who cut me off in traffic, all is well. It helps you stay focused. It helps you not get off track and thinking that, oh, if someone cuts you off and you snap and you say something you shouldn't say, or you do something you shouldn't do, you get it all in your emotions. No, setting your thermostat first thing in the morning, setting your day and saying, this is how I'm going to be today. I'm affirming myself in this moment, and this is how I'm going to be today. All is well, or whatever you want to set yours to. That is what's going to keep you. That's the start of keeping you on track to this great day because you're commanding your day first thing in the morning. And then part two of my day was reflection. I had to, after work, I had to say, okay, so how did this all is well setting your thermostat work for you today? And I have to say, I had a really good day. I had a really good day. I had a lot of laughs today. I was already like in good spirits. I didn't have wrinkled up face in the morning. Like I was at peace. I was calm. It was just good. I cannot complain about my day today. Although I know in this world, crazy things have happened, crazier things are happening. But I set my day, I set my thermostat, and I reflected on it. So we're going to talk about right now, part three of my day. All right, so stay tuned. Okay, so before I get to part three, I'm just going to go back over part one and two. So part one, setting the thermostat, setting my day and saying, this is how it's going to be. All is well. That was my thermostat today. I set it and like, I don't care what happens on the outside, no matter what's going on in the house. Guess what? Your thermostat is set on that one temperature and that's how it's going to be. And then after I went through a whole day of that saying, okay, no, all is well. No matter, oh, you want this report, you want this thing, all is well. I can do that. All is well. I had to reflect on the day and say, how was my day today? How was it actually? And I can say, like I said, it was a good day. It was a good day. And I think the very great thing that happened today is I got into a routine. It was a routine. And that's my part three. I realized that setting a routine is most helpful. Writing down those things that you want to accomplish, setting a routine for yourself, saying, okay, well, and today I didn't write it down, but it was a routine in my head. I said, I set my day. I'm reflected upon my day. How is it going? Things that I can do better. And I set that routine and it's amazing to set a routine. And your routine doesn't have to be like every, exact 5 o'clock in the morning or exactly if that's how you are and you need those specific times, then by all means do it. But for me, I don't need, I just have to say the morning. And whatever morning that is for me, that's when it happens. So you don't have to, because for me, I found out it gives me just more stress if like, oh my gosh, I was supposed to get up at 5 o'clock. It's 5:15. Now God is mad because I didn't get up doing my routine. No, God is a gracious God. He gives us grace. We have to give ourselves grace. So if you get off track a couple minutes or an hour, it's okay. Stick to the routine. Stick to, you know, setting your thermostat for whatever that is. And you keep focusing back on that. So why is setting our thermostat at the beginning of the day and setting a routine and reflecting on that, why is that important? There's a scripture in the Bible that is in Third John 1 and 2. And I have it up on the screen here. It says, Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So what is your soul? How can my soul prosper? Your soul is the feeler, the chooser, the thinker, the thing that is on the inside, that has all those routines and has all those traditions and things that we've learned from childhood. That's where that soulish area, those things that can be renewed. Yeah, that feeler, the chooser, the thinker, how can that prosper? It can prosper in just by doing what I said. You set your thermostat to God. What do you want me to do today? I set my day. And God says to me, he said, okay, God, my thermostat is set because God knows your future. So your thermostat is set on, okay, God, I trust you. Whatever happens, I don't know what that means exactly, why you're telling me that right now, but I trust you. And so I set my thermostat to, I trust you, Lord. So whatever you give me today, Lord, I trust you. That's where you have to be. If God says it, you set your thermostat to that. So it's so important that we remember that God says, I pray above all things that you be in health, that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So you want your soul to prosper. You want the way you think to prosper, because like I was saying, you could get flustered. You could get off. Somebody could say something to you at work. Somebody could cut you off in traffic on your way to work. And now you're off. You're off because you went to somebody or your thoughts went haywire. But God said he wishes above all things that your soul, even your health, you be in health, even as your soul prospers. So I want to prosper my soul too. There's an area that lets me know that there's an area that needs to be prospered. There's an area that needs to be worked on, renewing that mind all the time. It's not just a one-time thing. You want to renew your mind and make sure that even as my soul prospers is prospering, because that's very important. So how do I do that? How do I get to that even as my soul prosper? How do I get to that part in 3 John 1 and 2, where it says, even as thy soul prosper? How do I get there? I'm going to tell you. You locate yourself. Sometimes you have to when I say locate yourself, you have to say, okay, pause. Where am I right now? If your day is overwhelming already from the beginning, sometimes you can get a text, a phone call first thing in the morning, and now your day is overwhelmed. The suddenlies of life just hit you. Now what do? Guess what? If you are getting to this routine, you have done this the day before. So now you have a focus. You have a focus and say, look, I set my thermostat. God, instead of just going off, instead of letting your emotions just take you, instead of just going in on this life challenge that's happening or whatever, you can say, God, where am I right now? Where am I right now? I'm locating myself because I don't want to get too far to the right or left. God, where am I? And you want to notice those things and you can keep reflecting back on it and say, okay, God, this is where I am. Okay, God, I'll show you where you are because you asked. And then he'll say, but this is where I want you to be. Set your thermostat to I trust you. Set your thermostat to remember I love you. God is saying, remember I love you. So set your thermostat to wherever you're going through or experiencing in one of those times when a suddenly just happens. You got to set your mindset, you got to set your day, and you got to locate yourself so that you can bring yourself back to what you have said. Bring yourself back to what God has told you. I love you. I'll never leave you nor forsake you. So come to me. Come to me. And what is that doing? That's prospering your soul. That's because we're here on this earth, living it out. And so that's prospering your soul when you take it back to what God has said. And another thing you can do to help your soul prosper is you prioritize your day. In the morning when you wake up, in your routine, prioritize. If you got to write down, okay, so this is what is important today. So say you don't get a phone call or a text in the morning that's like, crazy. You have a moment now to set your day and say, okay, God, this is what I want to do. This is the things that I got going on. Let me prioritize. Because if you don't prioritize, guess what? Something in the day will come up and it will make you put it priority. It will pull you and say, okay, this is what you're going to focus on right now. If you don't set it and say, where can I prioritize my day? Something will happen and it will knock everything out the way and it'll be not out of your control. And it will make you focus on that thing because you have not gotten your head straight. You have not set your day. You haven't set a routine. You don't know what you're doing. You're just out here just living life. And God said, as well as your soul prospers, even as your soul prospers, he wants you to prosper, your soul to prosper. And these are ways we can do it. Locate yourself. You got to prioritize self-care. So important. This morning, I took a bubble bath before work. Normally people say they're going to work out, go to the gym, or they're going to do something else at 5 a.m. No, I got up. I said, you know what? I'm going to be relaxed today. I'm going to take a bubble bath. I'm not going to wait till after work because I got this moment right now. So I took a bubble bath. You get up a little bit extra early and you do that. That's self-care. And while you're doing this self-care and you're just relaxing, you meditate on the word of God. You meditate on things that God has said. You meditate on something that you're listening to, the worship song, Wellness, wholeness, worship. Listen to a worship song. Listen to a song that's uplifting, and that'll help you stay in that routine. That'll help you remember the why. Why am I doing this? Because you don't know the settings of life. You don't know what's going to happen throughout the rest of your day. So it's so important to do that. Why is that important? Because sometimes we could put too much on our plate. We could put too much on our plate, and that can be overwhelming. You know how like at Thanksgiving dinner, you eat too much and your plate looks like a mound. You've been put so much stuff on it because everything looks good and you just want to eat this. Oh, give me some of that. Give me some of that. And that's not always the best thing for you. It's not always good for you to do that. So by focusing and saying, okay, let me locate myself before I eat too much. Let me find myself in this moment before I eat too much. Before I do something, the saying, your eyes are bigger than your stomach. That happens so much. Your eyes bigger than your stomach. You don't want that. So if you locate yourself, you can say, okay, let me prioritize this eating, and I'm just going to have a little bit. Why? Because if you don't do that, and you eat too much because your eyes are bigger than your stomach, now you're tired. Now your stomach's bloated. You feel sick. You're sleepy. You might have a headache. You just eat too much, especially it depends on what it is. You just eat too much. And so the same thing can be for like things that you have to do. Like if you have work to do and you're in this program, you have your children doing this, you got this project to do, you're working on this letter or this paper. Maybe you're in school and your teacher demands different things. Sometimes we deliberately put too much on our plate, on our life plate. Sometimes we deliberately put too much and it can get overwhelming and it can get difficult. And sometimes you just throw your hands up like, oh, it's just too much. So you have to end this self-care. That's a part of self-care. That's a part of your soul prospering. You cannot put too much on your plate. God doesn't give you too much than you can bear, but sometimes we can self-sabotage. We can do it ourselves. Just take on, especially as women, sometimes we can take on the world. We can do it all. And you have to go back and say, God, where am I in this? Because you didn't tell me to do this. You did not tell me to put all this stuff on my plate, not right now. And so therefore, locating yourself, staying ahead of the game. I think that is so good. Staying ahead of the game, that means you're staying ahead of it by prioritizing and putting things in routine and setting your day and remembering that God wants our soul to prosper and be in health. Staying ahead of that is so important. It's staying ahead of those, because it could get overwhelming really quick and you can forget. So if you don't have a plan, if you don't have something written out, if you don't have it set, then you don't even realize your schedule is completely filled. Your schedule is completely booked for the day, and it can get overwhelming. And at the same time, you can forget to eat. It would also give you a headache. You're not drinking water. You're not taking care of your body. Your stress levels go up, anxiety, cortisol levels go up. It's just all over the place. And that causes just your body to be in disarray, and it could cause disease, honestly. So you don't want that. So setting your thermostat, making your routine, reflecting on the day, prioritizing, looking at your self-care, that is why it's important. Because God said, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So the last thing I wanted to say about that is, if you feel like you're overwhelmed and you're off track and you want to get back on track, it's never too late. Always seek support. Support. If you have a friend, if you have someone who you can confide in, if you have, maybe there's therapy. Maybe you just want to talk to somebody on the phone. Sometimes you just need that. Sometimes you just need a journal. Maybe getting a journal and writing it down. Write things that you want to do and reflect on. Okay, so how did this day go for me today? It wasn't very good. I was overwhelmed. It was too much for me today. Maybe just unwind and write about it in a journal. Write it to yourself and then say, okay, so tomorrow we're going to set that thermostat and we're going to get this right. You're going to affirm that this is how you're going to be. And that is how you stay ahead of the game. That's how you practice wellness, wholeness, and worship, because you're keeping God in the midst. You're always reflecting. You're coming back and saying, okay, God, where am I right now? And God will show you. So that's all I have for you today. Be the best version of yourself that you can be. And until next time, bye.